startups and the presentation have highlighted this space has a lot of potential to deliver the goods once the initial teething troubles are taken care of. With the cooperation of academia, industry and startup, steps towards the establishment of Atmanirbhar Bharat in the pharmaceutical sector and the development of affordable healthcare will be a reality. I am thankful to the National Advisory Committee, particularly Dr. Sushibala Singh, Dr. U.S.N. Murthy, and Dr. V. Ravichandran for their continuous help and supports, and each and every member of the local organization committee who has played their part in ensuring the success of the meeting. The generous support and active participation of our students and volunteers has made the job of the organizing committee a bit easier. I hope that all the delegates have found the scientific deliberation fruitful and wish you all an enriching scientific journey and a safe trip back. Jai Hind.
Thank you, sir. May I now introduce Professor Y.K. Gupta to this august gathering. Professor Gupta is the president of AIIMS, Bhopal and Jammu. He is a distinguished and renowned expert in neuropharmacology, clinical pharmacology, and drug development, toxicology, and regulatory pharmacology. He is a fellow of National Academy of Medical Sciences, fellow of National Academy of Science, fellow of Indian Pharmacological Society, fellow of Indian Academy of Neurosciences, and fellow of Society of Toxicology. So he was a former director of Indian Institute of Toxicological Research, Lucknow. With this introduction, may I now invite Professor Y.K. Gupta to address the gathering, please.
Adarniya Madam Aparna ji, Secretary DOP, Dr. Dolal Pandey ji, Panda Sahab, Director Naipar Mohali, and I can see my friends, Dr. Murthy, and I can see Dr. Ravichandran, Dr. Shashi, and this is the galaxy of leaders of Naipers. And when I see ये जो गुलाब का और different फूलों का गुलदस्ता है, this represents the unity of different Naipers here, and this also represents BIREC, Dr. Manish. This represents the international faculty, Dr. Gulati. And I am proud of my students here, Dr. Shyam and Dr. Kamla, and a couple of others, ladies and gentlemen here. Why I say that this guldashta, importance of this is a collaborative approach. A collaborative approach which results into not only giving flowers a shape, but is also productive. It smells good. The fragrance goes very far, and that is what the impact of joint effort of Naipar is. And we are proud of that Indian pharma industry today has outreached, I think, the maximum number of the countries in the world which any other country has not able to reach. It has shown that not because of the Hathi Committee was the beginning, when you talk of just post-independence Hathi Committee, the primary objective of Hathi Committee was to have a self-reliance on pharmaceutical sector. And today, we can say with pride that not only on a generic medicine, but also in producing the human resource in pharma, we are number one now. And we have to reduce this lag period of clapping on our success. This should come instantly. And you should realize, you should feel proud of your success. I think that is what we are lacking here. Now I will give you some challenges to you. It is always good to pat on the back because that always motivates you to go forward. But it's always good to walk with care so that you do not meet an accident, which happens. And the challenges today are as follows. If we look for human resource today, I will agree with my previous speaker that he came with the expectation that he will select 2, and they ended up in select 8 out of 20 or maybe out of 13 or 14. But I will be more worried why rest were not selected. So was this the lack of job opportunity? He should work on it. Or was this lack of competence? You should work on it. Or the faculty should work on it. Was this that the 18 were looking for job? Why not all of them were looking for providing opportunity for job? Why not they all thought that I will provide opportunity for job to you? So I will take over your company sometime. That should be the motivation you have. That should be the motivation of all NIPER graduates, at least the valedictory function, those who are attending the valedictory function should have. There are a few people who attend conferences. Always, say, I have been attending conferences myself, Professor Gulati have been attending for 1970s. क्या होता है वैलिडिटरी फंक्शन में आधे से भी कम रह जाते हैं, इसमें तो बहुत है. And maybe this is the charm of our secretary here. कुछ तो सेक्रेटरी के प्रेजेंस के लिए डायरेक्टर ने जोर दिया कि आ जाओ भाई. लेकिन ऐसा नहीं है. यहाँ पे मोटिवेटेड लोग हैं. यहाँ मोटिवेटेड लोग हैं. So what I am trying to say, valedictory function में you look for what happened in last 3 days. And I would say, Professor Dalal Panda mentioned कि हमारे इतने lectures हुए, इतने oral presentation हुए. I would say, what is the success rate of lectures? And there are different parameters of success. बड़ा अच्छा था lecture. जोश में बोले, हमने होश में सुना. लेकिन असली सक्सेस लेक्चर का वो है जिसने लेक्चर लिया उसको खाना मत खाने दो, घेर लो उसको सवालों से. तो कितने लेक्चर्स ऐसे थे जिनके लेक्चर के बाद में लोगों ने उनसे सवाल करने के लिए घेर लिया, उनको खाना नहीं खाने दिया, डिनर नहीं करने दिया, और डिनर करके चले गए तो मेल की भरमार कर दी कि अब जवाब दो इस सवाल का, मुझे गाइड करो. आई थिंक दैट टाइप ऑफ कल्चर हैज टू कम अप. We have to look for not only listening lectures, but interacting with them. You will never get an opportunity to interact with so many luminaries at one stage, so many directors, so many industry people. And I would say, take this opportunity, because Madam is here. I was listening to a couple of lectures just now, few. हमारी इंडस्ट्री में इतना टैलेंट भरा हुआ है, लेकिन वो टैलेंट क्यों छिपा रहता है? Why not these industry experts are offered a visiting professor, adjunct faculty to these NIPERs? I've been talking this number of times. Maybe it may not require financial requirement. Maybe all those will try to repay what they have earned it. And I'm not so comfortable when we say कि यहाँ से जाने के बाद इंस्टीट्यूट से निकलने के बाद जब आप असली ज़िंदगी में आते हैं इंडस्ट्री में बड़ी मेहनत करनी पड़ती है, आपको बिल्कुल डिफरेंट लाइफ मिल जाती है. नो वे. यू हैव टू बी टॉट इन ए मैनर दैट यू ट्रांजिट व्हेन यू वे ट्रांजिशन फ्रॉम एकेडमिया टू इंडस्ट्री टू रेगुलेटर टू ए प्रोफेशनल जॉब. इट शुड बी सीमलेस ट्रांजिशन. इट शुड नॉट बी झटका लगे आपको गियर में. इट शुड बी ऑटोमेटिक गियर. एंड दैट कैन ओनली हैपन when your curriculum, when your training is mixed with your future requirement. And that's what, as a chair of Industry Academia Partnership, when we did last year, seamless, right from the beginning हो कि आपका जो आप प्रोजेक्ट ले रहे हैं, जो आप थीसिस दे रहे हैं, वो नहीं हो जो आपका गाइड PDF बन के करके आया यहाँ पे. क्या होता है?
हमारा पीडीएफ करके आया, गाइड हमने सेलेक्ट किया, उसने कहा भैया मैं तो यहाँ 10 साल तक पीडीएफ में ये सीख के आया, अब तुम भी इसी में लगे रहो। क्यों लगे रहो भाई? इट्स गुड if you are trying to develop a technique, infrastructure which is contemporary need of the country, but not just because मैं सीख के आया तो तुम भी यही करो, मैं कभी सास थी तो तुम भी वही करो जो उस सास ने किया। नहीं, जमाना बदलता है। Now therefore you have to look for what is the need of the country, what is the need of the industry, what is the need of the today's disease process. And I will just again say one thing to madam here. What we lack here, one flow, one stream is lacking in this, is the medical stream. The pharma is working for whom? Pharma sector is ultimately working for industry, is working for patients. Is an industry is working for maybe drugs for livestock or maybe. लेकिन जब हम पेशेंट्स की बात करते हैं तो डॉक्टर्स से हमको पूछना चाहिए तो तुमको तकलीफ क्या है? तुम मरीज की तकलीफ तो देख रहे हो, तुमको तकलीफ क्या है दवाइयों में? एंड दैट शुड बी द फिल्टरिंग प्रोसेस ऑफ योर रिसर्च प्रोजेक्ट्स, ऑफ योर गाइडेंस. ये है, बट आई थिंक दैट नीड टू बी इंक्रीज्ड. I don't see, I have not seen in any NIPER, any medical faculty teaching, coming and talking about. And this can be increased perhaps, the interaction can go up. When we say, madam, हमारे यहाँ farm D पैदा हो रहे हैं, हमारे farm पैदा हो रहे हैं, and then we need in medical institutions the people to work for drug analysis, quality control, pharmacovigilance, material vigilance, and so many other things. Why not? Right from the beginning, there is an interaction between medical institutions. There are 20 AIMS now. There are so many NIPERs now. Why they cannot be more interactive things right from the beginning to identify the diseases which we are looking for new drugs, maybe rare disease, maybe other disease conditions. So that can also be the to inflow from industry. What industry is looking for, that should be the project here. What medical science is looking for, that should be project here. What you think that you can give it to them, new idea, that should be the project to them. So that is how it should work. Startup, I greatly appreciate Dr. Dulal Pandaji and Bairak here, Manish ji here, that startup, कोई start करके छोड़ मत दो. इग्नाइट करने के बाद में उसको थोड़े दिन तक फ्यूल देते रहो, कि ऐसा नहीं हो कि आपने स्टार्ट करके धक्का मारा, वो जाके वहाँ पे खड़े हो गए. कितने स्टार्टअप जंक यार्ड में खड़े हो गए. द इम्पॉर्टेंट थिंग इज फॉलो अप दीज स्टार्टअप्स, बिकॉज द एंथुसियाज्म, एनर्जी विच यू हैव नाउ will have to be sustained till it becomes in a self mode. I think that is what we need to do it. Finally, I would say few things, that this journey which you are looking in this temple of, say, learning, of science, and I would say this is not learning of science, this is learning for humanity. Because ultimately you are producing some products which will be useful. And there should not be delay or the lag period when you produce a product and it will go to the public. And that has to cross what you say a compulsory mandatory regulatory system. And I would be very happy if the product of this institute or these people who are sitting here, they create an ecosystem where each and everybody contributes to development of the regulatory science in the country. Regulatory science has to be very dynamic. ये नहीं है कि हमारा regulatory science 1942 में बना और उसके बाद हम उसी को कोट करते चले आ रहे हैं. There have to be amendments. Every day there has to be amendment, and you have to think why and why not. And then you should make a critical idea. You have to make a critical logic and evidence, give it, and make a regulatory science as a very important thing. Because otherwise product हमने बनाया और उसके बाद में वो वहीं पे अटक गया. 6 साल लग गए प्रोडक्ट बनाने में, दुनिया उसको आगे लेके चली गई. हम सोच रहे हैं अब तो now this is now time to make it withdraw. time to make it obsolete, and now you are putting it into the market. You have lost that critical time. So that has to be very important thing. Many times you might have seen that we are caught in a very odd situation. I'm not giving the recent examples, or maybe where just because of some impurity, some toxicant or something, or some adulterant, whether accidental or whether it is intentional, whether punishable or whatever it is, you are painted differently. The hard-earned reputation of the country gets spots. Never allow these spots to be there. Have a precautionary thing. Why not? Can we say that nitrosamine ka bhi lecture liya, ya maybe any XYZ things hai? Can we say that what should be the palatable, what should be the acceptable limit of detection? What should be the capacity in country for these 10 critical issues? And what should be the acceptable limit, not depending on what US or what US FDA says, but what is our database, what is our science says. And success is pharmacovigilance program of India. And I must say that there was a time when, for looking for the safety of drugs, for deciding drug in national list of essential medicine, which I chaired, we used to look for the data from abroad. But today we look for the data first for the safety from pharmacovigilance program of India. That becomes the first and foremost criteria of deciding our safety criteria for our country. And that's why the regulatory system should also be for our country. And that's what that come only for critical thinking, out-of-box thinking. So my last message is develop some out-of-box thinking, develop some critical thinking, chase your teachers till he says, I give up, and I will come back tomorrow. So I will come back tomorrow to you. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. May I now introduce our chief guest, Ms. S. Aparna. Ms. Aparna is currently Secretary to the Government of India in the Department of Pharmaceuticals. She is a member of the Indian Administrative Service for the past 3 decades. She has a wide range of experience in the national, state, and local governments. After her initial years in the district administration, her principal areas of experience have been public finance, development policy and planning, and urban governance. Ms. Aparna has served on the board of directors of over 15 public sector companies operating in energy, industrial infrastructure, and financial services. She served as the executive director on the board of the World Bank Group, representing Bangladesh, Bhutan, India, and Sri Lanka for 3 years from 2017 to 2020. Madam holds a postgraduate degree in zoology and MPhil in energy and environment from India and a master's in business administration from Melbourne, Australia. Her priorities for the pharma medical device sector is to empower the Indian industry to meet its potential for global leadership through innovation. She focuses on global competitiveness, assured quality, affordability, increased drug security, resilience, and contribution to SDG 3 through a patient-centric approach. With this introduction, may I now invite Madam to address this August gathering. Please.
Good evening, namaste, to all the distinguished colleagues here, as well as all our students and researchers who are participating in this conference. I'm very happy to be here, at least in the valedictory session. I had planned to be here on the first day, but there were other engagements, but I'm happy that I'm here today. And I would like to start with my very sincere appreciation for the efforts that have gone into organizing the conference, the first of its scale and kind by NIPERS, and particularly would like to thank the entire organizing committee, the moral and actual support of all the directors, to Director Dr. Panda in S.A.S. Nagar, and the efforts of all members, not only of the organizing committee, but also those who have participated in this conference. It is extremely heartening to note that we had both Indian academia, Indian industry, international academia, as well as presentations by students, faculty, researchers of more than 400 papers that had been offered up, and the proceedings that have been brought out is a testimony to the effort that must have gone into collecting all this work into one platform. So my sincere appreciation for the activities and the efforts that have seen culmination in the last 3 days. So yes, I think we should clap everybody. So very, very sincere appreciation to all of you here. As has been mentioned by many of the speakers, and particularly Professor Gupta ji, government has been providing policy framework and programmatic intervention for the pharma sector, because as all of you do appreciate, the pharma sector is, of course, a very important manufacturing sector. We have a size of close to $50 billion now. There is an export of about $24 billion, of which there is a net foreign exchange earning of about $17 to $18 billion from the pharmaceutical sector itself. So yes, it has a very important economic role to play in the development of the country. But the government's policy and programmatic support, including the support to NIPERS and to events such as this, also stems from the fact that this is one of those manufacturing sectors or industry which also has a societal impact very directly. And that societal impact is our ability as a sector to provide access to affordable medicines of good quality to our citizens throughout the country, of course, but also across the globe. All of you would, of course, be aware, I am sure, that India is now recognized as the pharmacy of the world. It is the third largest producer and market in terms of volume, and possibly the largest in terms of generic drugs, where about 20 to 22% of the entire global generic market comes from India. And of course, I think you must have heard our Honorable Minister also say at various forums that 1 out of 4 generic medicines or pills in the US, which is a large market of over $430 billion. So 1 in 4 pills, generic pills, are from India. In the UK, I believe that is 1 in 3. And this has been achieved through a long process of building up the industry and ensuring that affordability and access and quality go hand in hand. So this is a sector which you should be proud to be a part of, that it has not only an economic value for the country, but also a societal value. And I think that in order to maintain that kind of a level, both at the national and at the global level, everybody here, whether they are industry leaders or they are academicians or they are thought leaders or they are young students who are embarking on a career in the pharmaceutical sector, I think we need to be also aware that new challenges are emerging. There are lots of evolving trends that we are seeing, and possibly nothing could have brought this evolution or these trends to our notice, to the notice of the popular mind, as dramatically as the COVID pandemic did. So for 2.5 years, the world in different countries at different times came almost to a standstill. There was huge economic loss. There was loss of life. We still don't have a therapy for COVID. We had to undergo huge vaccination drive. Huge financial human resources had to be diverted from other parts of the economy to maintaining life and ensuring the support to the poorer sections of society who were, impacted and had to suffer hardship because of one disease. So I think that was something that brought home to everybody at every level, whether it is the highest policy makers or the poorest family in a society, the importance of being able to meet these challenges. And for Indian pharmaceutical sector, it is again important that we should not rest on our laurels. We should not say, oh, we are now pharmacy of the world. We don't have to do anything else, because all of you would be aware, since you are thinking people, you are intelligent students of the sector, that there are so many new trends that are coming in. Even what this curriculum you are studying needs to be updated almost on an annual basis, I feel, because we have seen the transition from the traditional chemical-based pharmaceuticals to the biologics and biosimilars. We are seeing more emphasis on protein peptide-based therapies, stem cell therapies, genetic manipulation, and there is a new appetite for natural products like the Ayush products, which I would classify as maybe natural products or phytopharmaceuticals. And we are also now, in fact, wanting to explore marine therapeutics as a new area for development in our country, and the NIPER at Kolkata will be coming up with a center of excellence for this. So there are emerging trends that all of us have to be aware of, even as we celebrate the strength of Indian pharmaceutical sector, of which all of you are a part. In order to be able to address these challenges, be able to respond to these trends, and ensure that we retain our global leadership, more and more now, innovation is becoming essential, innovation based on research. So it is not sufficient to be able to expand our generic capacities and competencies, but simultaneously, we should be investing in innovation. And the reason why we have in the department, all of us collectively with all the directors of NIPERs, taken a decision that we need to ramp up the research activity in all the NIPERs, bring together all players to ensure that innovation becomes the hallmark of Indian pharmaceutical industry and pharmaceutical sector. So while generics have a great importance in ensuring affordability and manufacture at scale, innovation is also going to be equally important, in fact critical, in the years and decades to come. And that is why I do believe that focusing our research efforts, and more importantly, again I would refer to Professor Gupta ji, collaborating our research efforts is going to be critical. What cannot be done by individuals can be done by a team that we can always see. And our team is spread not only in 7 NIPERs, but our team is there in DBT, our team is there in CSIR, our team is there in ICMR, our team is there in the IITs, our team is there in AIMS, our team is there in the industry. In the industry, we have innovators in startups, we have the large Indian pharmaceutical industries, we have the OPPI, which is foreign MNCs who are working in India. So there is a huge team that has to be brought together in a collaborative spirit. If as a country we are able, we will be able to transform our pharmaceutical sector into a innovation-based sector. And I think that is necessary to meet both our strategic objectives and our societal goals. So strategic objectives is to capture value, is to go up on the value chain, gain global leadership in emerging areas, continue to provide employments, and societal goal is to ensure that our patients have the benefit of the most advanced therapies, most advanced products at rates that are affordable in our country. So these are the two objectives, both the economic strategic objective as well as the societal goals that we need to work on together in a collaborative effort through research and innovation. So priority areas is something that we have been discussing among the NIPERs and within the department, because obviously, every individual researcher or faculty member would